And hello, it's been a while. It's a pleasure to see you again and to be with you on this podcast. It's just an absolute thrill for me.
Thank you. It is a thrill for me too. And I think the last time we spoke, I hadn't been to France yet, and you hadn't been to Germany yet, right?
Correct. I was on the way out, right on the way out,
Yeah.
which it was a fantastic journey. Um, it was a working trip as well as being a chance to visit with my son and his family, but it turned out to be just so much more than I could even have imagined on all fronts.
Can you tell me about what you mean a working trip?
Yeah. From Hawaii to Germany is a bit of a journey, and it takes quite a while. And so you get on the plane, and approximately 2 days later, his time, and a day and a half later, my time. I've been on the plane for basically the whole time during this, or been awake for the time. I get off the plane and we drive to his house. And as we're driving close to his house, there's a lady on the side of the road and she's crying. And he says to me, I'm going to drop you off. I need to go and see what this person needs. And I said, okay. Well, he did. And it turns out she lived just a few houses up the street and she was in a severe crisis. And so he and I, after I'd been on the plane for a day and a half, 2 days, something along those lines, um, he and I helped her until 2 o'clock in the morning that day. So that was,
Wow.
we helped her all night long getting to where she needed to be. We got her and her immediate family to a place of safety and gave her the opportunity to get to where she needed to process, where she could process everything necessary for moving on from where she was. And it was an absolutely fantastic opportunity. It opened the door as I arrived in Germany for me and my son. He's a Buddhist chaplain in the military at present, and we got to work together as a team to help people, and it was fantastic.
You know, I was just thinking as I was listening to you talk about how it was a working trip, right? And our work doesn't feel like work for us most of the time. Although it is work, it is effort, it is definitely, but it is not work in the traditional sense in that we have been taught work is.
It's more like sharing energy.
Yeah. Yeah, and opportunities for experiencing. And I was just thinking how many people would hear that and be like, you're on vacation. Do you want to spend time with your son? Do you want to, and this just speaks to me like doing something with your son that is just like literally from the heart bonding instead of, I don't know, going out to lunch is nice. There's nothing wrong with going out to lunch, or taking a walk in the park. All of those things have a place, but this, you know, I don't know. You just made the most of it.
And that's the thing for us. It's sort of like being a medical doctor, especially an ER doctor, when you're on an airplane. You never know when something is going to pop up and someone is going to benefit from having you in that space. And we never know. I can go to the grocery store and say something and know that that was exactly what that person needed to hear at that moment in time. Did I plan that? No, it just came through me.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing. If you're a doctor on an airplane and they say, is there a doctor on board? Well, if you are, you know, you're there at the time, and that's what you do.
Right.
For us, it's exactly the same. It's a little bit, it kind of reminds me a little bit. There was a very old MASH session, eh, show.
Yep.
Um, and it had the three main people were Hawkeye,
Okay.
Alan Alda,
Yep.
And Sydney, who was the mental doctor, and
Hmm.
it had
You gotta remember
Father
him.
Mulcahy, who was
Mhm.
the priest, and
Yep.
they're talking about this. And Mulcahy says, "You know, Hawkeye, when you lose one, you lose a body. Sydney, when you lose one, you lose a mind. But when I lose one, I lose a soul."
Mm.
And we don't generally lose them. We help them to get to a better place. We help them see their way to get to a better place. And we guide them and support them. But it's the same kind of thing, you know. It's very similar to being a doctor on a plane or anywhere else. You know, the doctor never knows when something's going to pop up. Neither do we.
Yeah. And what is the term that they use? You're a helper. What was it called? Somebody,
My wisdom keepers?
when you were helping with the event in Hawaii, the fires, and somebody said, "Oh,
Oh, I'm a calmer,
you're a calmer."
but
Yeah.
I'm not really, that's a very small part of what I do.
Yeah.
I'm more like a guide and a supporter and a calmer, and there's so much wrapped into it. Just like a doctor doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily just do, you know, one little thing.
Right. And also, like with doctors, you think that they know everything. People are like, "Oh, well, you're a nurse. Don't you know that?" Or, it's just too big. You're a healer. Don't you know that? Like, we can't know everything. But our
And the
modality and
idea
the
of being
gift.
a healer in and of itself, we don't heal anybody. We don't have that ability. We guide and support other people to find their method of healing,
Mhm.
but it's within all of us. We just, a lot of times we need a little guidance or assistance or support to find it within us and bring it out, bring it forth.
Yeah. I think the less ego we have, the clearer channel we are, the better healers we are and bring. Um, So I still use the term healer because it does explain to other people what we do, even though the nuance is that we actually do the healing, Um, you're right, source does the healing, but it does feel like you and your son getting together did so much more for that woman, her family. I think even your location by putting your energies together and spreading them. Like it almost feels like exponential, you know?
Indeed, and it felt to us very much like, you know, if you have an office of medical workers or mental health workers or whatever,
Yeah.
you've got several different people who work at, they're not exactly specialized, but they have things that they do that they are better at, and others have other things.
Yep.
And whomever the person coming in goes to, that's the one who was attracted by that energy, not necessarily the other.
Yeah.
But the you can get together and without mentioning a lot of specifics, you can talk about particular, you know, in this kind of a situation what might happen, and you can get some together feedback that, you know, we're all better together, is how I hear it put.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't realize that we're all better together. Again, that's the whole paradigm shift of we are all one. If and we have separated into fractals to experience being an individual, being a person, being a soul in this body at this time and this place, and soul contracts and plans and all of that. But now is the time to realize, like, yeah, that person that just cut you off in traffic and you were really, really mad, like, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. Maybe it's an opportunity you needed to work on patience or, just all of it is
And
really,
realizing that that same person is part of the same whole. um, as I've heard Paul Selig put it, what
mhm.
you damn damns you back. what you bless blesses you. It's that's a tough one. I mean, it's so simple and it's so tough at the same time. Yeah, I gotta bless that one too.
Yeah. So we this morning we were talking about Lionsgate and coming up and how, there's so much like Lionsgate, Lionsgate, Lionsgate. And it's almost like I roll my eyes a little bit about it. Because sometimes it feels like so superficial. To me, it is so sacred. And but
I feel it. I've been feeling it for days.
it's real. It's real. And talking about the synchronicities of um you and your son, again, I'm coming back to that. Like people start their journey, they often see numbers on license plates and they're like, why am I seeing these numbers? Am I going crazy? Am I really seeing these numbers? And they keep seeing them, right? And then it starts them thinking. That's the spark, right? But then you start getting synchronicities, and I'm calling it a synchronicity just so people have a comparison to how far these synchronicities can go. That synchronicity is that woman is there, uh, almost as if like waiting for you guys to show up, So huge blessings come in, huge blessings come in. And the Lion's Gate is what I feel, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about it too, and the Wisdom Keepers. But so the lions are always facing each other in Lion's Gate, and we're going through in between them. And exactly, whatever you bless, blesses you. Whatever you curse, curses you back. That kind of thing. Like we are mirroring ourselves and each other. And what came to me this morning was it might look a lot like karma, but it's not punishment. It is
Yeah,
a natural consequence reaction to what we're putting out.
to the energy we're putting out. Yes.
And that is what karma is. But since we've always been in this society of karma's going to get you. I mean, I was stuck in there for years until that anger finally, thank God, went away, but it will look like that. But it's be careful of your energy, be careful of your intention. Notice when we're blessing. What do you think about Lionsgate? You're feeling it. What do you think about what I just said?
What they gave to me as you were talking about that is 888 is what they say is Lionsgate. But there a symbolism of that is an eight, a figure eight, first of all, is infinity on its side, but it also is the body or a body. It's the head and then the body in a figure eight. And so you've got one lion, one eight here, one lion, one eight here. We are in the middle, being that third eight. We are a necessary part of the whole thing because we are the ones who receive from both of the other two, the two lions, the energy. But it's going through that energy and feeling that energy, and it's been just talk about transformations and changes. I've just, for instance, my granddaughter, whom I was the foundation for her being able to grow up in any form of freedom. The other side of her family is very, very strict, old paradigm, and would really have loved to try and box her, and I wasn't allowing that to happen. Well, just as Lionsgate started, um, she had both her mother and her other grandmother come to her, and in a way they didn't actually apologize for making her life rough, but her mother apologized to her saying, I'm sorry I didn't make it easier for us to have a better relationship. Now for someone from that paradigm to say that is
Huge.
just huge,
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
And the other grandmother did something very similar to that.
Mm.
And for these two people in that very strict paradigm of boxing to come out on the same day like that. I'm just like, wow. I mean, huge.
Yeah.
And so I'm seeing, and I know that sounds like a very simplistic example, but we can
Okay.
look at the larger stage and in the same time look at the changes happening. And
Yeah.
it's not just in one place, it's all over the world.
Real.
And it's
Yeah.
just like, what an amazing time to be alive.
Yeah. And again, there are lots of people saying the world is going to shit. Can't you see this is terrible? And I'm like, I do kind of see what you're talking about. Like I get that. But also, like, I see people rising to the challenge. I see people like coming out, being given a chance, taking risks and all of that.
And
So,
I also see that in the larger scheme of things, the reason so much of this is coming up right now,
yeah,
everything that has been held in darkness and has been, buried down in the basement and nobody wanted it to come up, uh, it's coming up so that we can see it. So we, the people who are here now, and especially the younger generations, can choose how. Go on by, go on by. Okay. So the generations after us, especially, but also with us as the foundation and as their support, can choose this way didn't work, that way didn't work, this part, that part didn't work. Okay. And it's not serving all the people. Can we make it serve the people by making changes? If not, can we create a new system that will make the old system obsolete and it can go away? We have to have all of this. If everything were calm and peaceful and everybody was complacent, there would be no change.
right.
We have to see these things so we know what needs to be changed. And when I see it like that, it's not terrible, awful. The world is not going to hell in a handbasket.
Mhm.
Uh, it's changing. And we're
Yeah.
part of that. And we get to be part of that.
Yeah.
What an amazing adventure.
And apparently we volunteered. We have to remind ourselves of that sometimes. Like, okay, you volunteered. Like this is what you wanted. And
And
it
we
is
were
wonderful.
we won the lottery to be here at this time volunteering.
It, I believe that. Yeah. And I've heard that a lot, that we had to be warriors, soft warriors, internal fortitude, maybe, if you will.
Strong like the oak and yet um, pliable like the willow.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. When you were talking about the lions on each side, so the Lion's Gate in Mycenae in Greece, they have the two lions and the pillar. So are you saying we are the pillar?
We are all the pillar. Each individual and each and all as a whole are the pillar. We are source.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
is no separating that. We were created of source, not just from source, but of source. And each
Yes.
and every one of us is not only source, but each is necessary here at this time. That's why we got to be here. And we're each and every one of us an individual strand of the tapestry. Without each and every one of us, the tapestry would lose its beauty. It needs each and every one of us in each of our individual colors as a whole together to be the tapestry.
In order for us to have the experiences that we wanted to have, we need all of those other people
And that we
having
experience
their
for
experiences.
source. We
And
experience it for source. That's why we're here.
okay, so can you talk about that? This is something that isn't talked about, I don't think, enough. I have my headphones on, I listen to YouTube a lot. We're all one, we're all source, we're all, everything, but talking about source and how we are source, I think a lot of us get that, but And if you could just dive into more explaining, that'd be good.
Okay. We, each and every one of us, in the very, very beginning, there was only the complete and total darkness. Warm, loving, supportive, non-judgmental, but the darkness nonetheless. The same darkness that I went through in my first NDE in the tunnel. I didn't have a light tunnel, I had a dark tunnel. But it's the same. Before creation, there is only infinite potential, infinite energy of creation. And that's what Source is all about. But Source was by itself, was like, I don't understand what it is like to feel what I am. I want to know what I am, who I am, how I, I want to know what it feels like to feel that, to feel me. And so Source created everything to be able to experience itself, or to see it, to be able to understand how it would feel to experience itself. That is how we are all Source. That is why we are all Source and why we are here. As we experience everything, and we could not understand or experience, give the true experience of what it is to be Source if we did not understand what it is to not be Source. There had to be a duality created. In other words, the math that we've been taught is all wrong, or not. It works in a physical world, but actually, one divided by one Source
Yeah.
divided by one itself is two.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we were created. We are created of Source. And we are here to experience what it is like, not only to not think we are part of Source, but to come back to and realize that we are Source. All of us,
Thank you.
everything, all around us.
That was awesome, including the math example. Um, Even if you don't agree, that gave some really good imagery and something to think about. Last night, I was listening to a physicist who works for NASA, so couldn't say a whole bunch of things and give a lot of secrets away. But he was like, there's so much more out there. Like, use your wildest imagination, let your mind go, and then 10 times that. That's what's out there, right? So I was thinking of that, number one. And he said that the physics we've been taught is all wrong. So, why wouldn't 1 + 1 or 1 / 1 be wrong too? Um, and then just last week, I had a client was willing to do my straight to source technique instead of a regular past life session. And guess where she went? She went to the void. So immediately I'm asking her, and you say, oh, what are you feeling? What are you thinking? What are you seeing? And she's like, black. It's nothing. It's nothing. And now I know enough to not be afraid of that. Like a lot of hypnosis, like I'm doing it wrong, or they're doing it wrong, or get out of there, or whatever. Like, let's just go with it. And she's like, I am in exactly your words. I am in a space of creation, and I am pausing. I am pausing because I know the minute I think of something and decide what I want, it will happen. So I just need to be sure. And so we stayed in that space for a while and talked to source, or what it was like to be in that space. Get it, space. So this, I think, is going to take a while for people to come around to understanding it. But I think people want to understand it.
And I think that is actually what we're here for right now, is
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
time of transformation and change. the
Yeah.
whole of everything that you just said, including the whatever you can imagine times 10.
Yeah.
It's already there, it's already available.
Yeah.
All we have to do is bring it forth. And that includes everything that um, we've been told, no, you can't do that. That's not possible. No, that doesn't work with physics. That, all of that.
Or the
It's
phrase that's
actually
coming to me
there.
right now, the old paradigm in the box phrase is, life doesn't work like that. Well, it could.
Yeah, well, it can
It
if you make
could.
the choice. If you make,
Yeah.
there is the
Yeah.
key. If you choose, we chose to be here. We choose how we're going to, the experience we're going to have. We choose everything in it
Yeah.
for whatever reason. And I know a lot of people are saying, I wouldn't choose this. Yeah, you did. And you did for a reason. And the reason may be to experience it so that you can move to a different place.
Yes. And it doesn't mean, I always am really, really careful of saying, yeah, I chose this, you chose this, but we also chose an experience maybe of being a victim of some horrible thing to learn, but we also are entitled to the experience of being the victim and holding space for what happened to us at that time.
I started out as a victim. I mean, hugely, you know that.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it's if you don't understand what being a victim is, you can't understand how wonderful it is to break that cycle, get out of it, and move into the freedom of being the creator of your own existence.
Yeah.
I am the creator now.
Yeah.
I create what is around me.
I am the captain now. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't do that if you don't understand. You might be able to, but it would be on a much lower level than if you have the experience and you know what you've come through and where you've gotten. And if you can see, I started here and I made it to here.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot more impetus for moving and for your own self being the person you came here to be, the being you came here to be. Then yeah, I only made it this far.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it's not a race, it's not a competition, but
Not
we're
at all.
here to say, this is what is possible. Hold space for yourself. And the quicker you hold space for yourself, the quicker you get to move out
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that space.
Speaking of quicker, the what has come to me recently, and this is going to be paradigm changing for a lot of people.
Okay.
I have been talking about just right before I left for Germany and you left for parts beyond.
Yeah.
Um, I was given this leaving form, pain-free and stress-free, not just for gurus. And I actually have done webinars on that. I did one for IANDS, IANDS, and there are I was given a process in which, and first of all, you have to understand the way that we currently see death, and that has to be in quotes because I don't believe it exists, but the way that we have been taught for forever to define leaving form has been taught to us as yet another means of control. It's not real. It
And
doesn't have to
fear,
be.
fear.
Fear.
Yeah.
And, for instance, my in laws right now are both in nursing homes. My mother in law is in final stage Alzheimer's, and my father in law has more medical issues than he can possibly understand.
Hmm.
And, uh, and they're not living a very good lifestyle at this moment. Why would you want them to have to stay here in that longer? Is that because
Yeah.
the medical community, and in this case, some of the members of the family who are in the medical community, think that, quote, death is a failure, which it is not at all. It's a transition. It's moving from one form of energy to another. If you understand that and you want to move on from that, how? How do you do that? And so I've been working on that. And just recently, the Wisdom Keepers gave me the 5 powers of Buddhism simplified for exactly this process.
Okay.
Do I have your interest piqued?
Yes. So I just want to clarify. So some people, so I was speaking to someone the other day and they're like, oh, my brother transitioned. And I was thinking, okay, so, I live in Massachusetts near Northampton. Lots of genders are transitioning. So I thought maybe I didn't realize, okay, they passed on. They didn't just transition,
The
Um,
left form, yeah.
yeah, so this is the language, left form, transition. We're talking about death and dying from
Yes.
now on.
And
And
how can
here
you
it will
do
be
that?
leaving
How
form.
can you do that
Mhm,
pain-free, stress-free? How can you do that? How is it possible? Well, we have a number of gurus in the past who have done it. There was one, and he actually invited his most verdant followers,
mhm,
and he said, "I'm going to transition at this time in this place, and you're welcome to come."
mhm,
And he did. And at the chosen time, he went from completely healthy and alive. He released his energy, and they saw pink energy float up. The place was surrounded with rainbows, and they could hear the little tinkling of bells, and his body just disappeared, and his energy left.
And that is a real phenomenon. Like that is scientifically proven about the rainbows when somebody with a very big spirit
A
leaves
very
form.
free energy. It's
Yeah.
their spirit is not bigger. Their energy is just they know how to free their energy.
Okay.
That's what it's
Okay.
all about, is
Okay.
how do we free our energy? Right now we're everything is energy. Everything is energy,
Yeah.
including rocks, including trees, and everything is energy stuffed into a tight little package so that we can perceive it as life in
Mhm.
form.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mhm.
But how do we release that energy from where it is? In the
Okay,
case
so
of my
just to
in the
clarify too, why would people want to be interested in this for themselves in the future, or they're going to help people? I feel like we're getting prepared to help people understand this, right?
Yes,
So I want to make
yes.
sure that that is clear, especially for YouTube and the algorithm and their censorship and stuff. We are not helping people do this.
No,
Or encouraging it. But if there is a time that this is inevitable for you, or inevitable for whatever reason,
it is for all of us. We choose it.
that's true. I'm like, it is inevitable for everyone, but so what am I saying? So yeah, go ahead.
Well, and even my in-laws are choosing it now, whether to stay or whether to go. At the end of Steve Jobs' life,
Yeah.
you wow, 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 and he chose it. I mean, yes, he took a process that was probably not exactly comfortable to get there,
Yeah.
and we don't have to. Like the guru didn't have to do that. He didn't go through that. But how do we do that? So let me I don't have it memorized. They gave it to me, had me put it on paper. I'm going to put on my glasses and I'm going to read it to you. These are the 5 Buddhist powers simplified for this particular process.
Good.
Okay.
I love it. Thank you.
Okay. Number one, intention. The intention is to live life so as to leave form pain-free and stress-free. The intention is to live your entire life in a way that supports leaving form pain-free and stress-free. Okay? We all know about intentions. We all know what they are and how they work. That's the intention of this.
Okay.
Okay? Number two, diligence. Keep looking deep into one's life and addressing what and how to forgive oneself and others and make amends if necessary. Now, this doesn't have to be in I made amends with my mother and she wasn't here anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is what so many of us have been doing for a very long time now. Look in those deep, dark crevices and crannies, and what can I bring up that I can release to be freer, to make my energy body, to make the energy of me freer,
Yeah.
lighter. Okay. The third one, letting go. And that's of all thoughts, emotions, attachments, experiences, to allow complete freedom. That's freedom of your energy, freedom of everything around you. How can you live more free in your choices each and every day? And what can you let go of that's holding you back? Probably something from the old paradigm. How much more can you let go of to live more freely and live your energy lighter?
Yeah.
How can you do that? And that's what each of us should be thinking about, keeping in our mind.
Yeah.
We make decisions constantly throughout every single day.
Yeah.
Is this the freest choice I can make?
Mm.
Okay.
I love it.
Number 4, insight and wisdom, or insight or wisdom, because they're very close to the same in this particular instance.
Mm.
The lessons or takeaways from number 3, that's letting go. What did you learn that support greater freedom from incarnation? You're not leaving yet, but how can I support my freedom to the point where I understand this is an incarnation, this is an energy body, there's a difference, they are currently connected, but
Yeah.
they are not the same. Yes, at some point each and every one of us will drop our bodies or will dissipate into the ether,
Right.
depending on how we do it. That's just a given.
Mm-hmm.
But the energy itself will be released. And if we release it into pure freedom, if we are ready to do that, we get to experience what is beyond imagining freedom.
Beautiful.
Okay. Number 5, mindfulness, to no one's great surprise.
Da-da-da.
Keeping only what supports and serves the movement toward complete oneness with all that is, in all of our choices, all of our decisions, every day, all the time.
Yeah.
Now, if you have been out there in YouTube land very often, you know there are a number of people out there who may be spiritual teachers, gurus, or the like. And some of them are actually models for this. They may have been practicing, they may have been practicing yoga for 30 years or something like this.
Yeah.
Now, just because you now don't have to do that, you can do this in everyday life, in every choice that you make throughout your entire day. And it could be as simple as, what am I eating for lunch? Is this supporting my lightness and freedom? Or is this making it harder for me by adding more weight?
Yeah.
More, not physical weight, but more
Density.
energetic weight,
Yeah.
density.
Yeah.
Yes. But it can also be everything else that we choose throughout the day. And if we need role models, we've been given them. They're out there. I know some of them. And it's just to see all of that they have been working on for 30 years, simplified down into those 5 powers so that we, each and every one of us, everyday people, can use them now, is just fantastic.
Even if you use just one every day.
Start with one.
And maybe just not in that particular order. Like, so when you said mindfulness, I'm like, that's an interesting one. Thinking mindfulness is not in the mind. It is not just in the mind. And that's really where I spend a lot of time asking people to not think, to not be in information all the time. Because I love information. I love to read. I love books. I love all of that. But if you don't feel and you're just thinking, it's another form of just kind of ruminating and going around in circles and being stuck. So we
Being
were
a hamster
doing,
on a wheel. Yeah.
yeah, it's stuck in the box. Like, well, I can't start being mindful until I know every single thing about Buddhism, right? This morning, I had some of my instruments out and I was like, I don't know, you know this too. Like, I don't know why I'm taking this out or what. And then I'm like, okay, one instrument went around this part of the circle, the other went around that. And I said, I am not going to give instruction. I started giving instruction. Here, you can do, this or that. And then I just stopped. I was like, you know what? Do whatever you want with this. Make whatever noise, put it wherever on your body. Stay with it for a minute. And I think that exercise was kind of difficult for some people. Just like, well, I don't know what I'm doing with this or whatever, I don't know.
How is that supposed to work?
Yes. Yes. They wanted to know about the hertz and the frequency and which chakra does it heal and whatever. And these are all fine. These are all fun things. These are exciting things to want to learn about. It's interesting. We have to be reminded to just, I don't know, just take it and put it in your hand. Like when you were in kindergarten and you were in the circle and had show and tell, or you know what I mean? I don't know. It was fun. It was different though for me.
Yeah, child's mind is,
Yeah.
everybody is like, I got to learn. I gotta be adult. Guess what? The actual, what we're here for is to return to child's mind.
Yeah. Get back to that awe and that wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have that
And
more than ever now.
that freedom, which, a lot of us didn't necessarily feel that child's freedom in when we were there. But there is child's mind still within us.
Yeah.
That wonder and awe and beauty and gratitude for everything.
And when you were talking about was it your granddaughter that you were talking about? Okay. When you were talking about your granddaughter and your face was just like, and I was like, wow. And so you talk to the wisdom keepers all the time. You are one with the wisdom keepers all the time. So do you ever get to this place where you're not like, anymore? You know everything? No, it comes in waves that are so strong and so cool. And like me even listening to that part of myself or spirit or whatever that was saying, no, just pass these around. And my
And at the
ego
same
saying, well,
point in
I'm running
time,
the group. I should be teaching them something instead of just saying, here, take the thing. My ego got involved
yeah.
of whatever.
And
So,
that will happen. And also there are energy waves. We just went through one. Even as we're in the lion's portal, we went through one of those energy waves where
yeah,
to the number, people all over the world that I was talking to that particular day, every one of them said the same thing. This is what I'm feeling. And it was all kind of angsty and a little bit of frustration and a little bit of, and I'm like, yeah, even me, I'm feeling it too.
sure.
That's going to happen, and it's not necessarily, it could be our ego getting in the way, or it could be just the collective energy. Every one of us breathes. Why wouldn't we think energy also breathes?
Right.
It comes in, it goes out. Sometimes it flows, sometimes it flows another way.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing. And at the same point in time, if we understand that, we can ride the waves and we can get beyond, okay, ride the waves until you're to the stillness and then enjoy the stillness again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, um, again, we as healers, if you will, we as vessels who have learned to clear and to do these things, these are techniques that we're always working on. So I was listening to YouTube, and someone who channels Jesus and Mary and has a lot of like really interesting things to say. And she says, well, you know what? I already worked on my ego. I'm all set. And I'm like, you know, I think her information. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, you know, um, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, as they said in the five um, powers, look, keep looking for the deep, deep, deep parts.
Yeah,
What have you
yeah,
not addressed? Or maybe you've addressed it, but maybe there's a deeper level and you still have more to address.
yeah,
You know, there's that's why we're here. The
yeah.
other
And
part of
you
why we're
definitely
here.
do if you're announcing that you don't.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's for sure. If I came on here and I'm like, Lay, I'm sorry, but I already know that those five things, and I'm gonna be so many rainbows when I go, like,
We'll see.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. Don't hold your breath. Um, so let's review those five. So let's just go down in order.
Okay. Intention.
Yes.
You wanted this explanation again too?
No, just intention.
Diligence.
Yep.
Letting go.
Mm-hmm.
Insight slash wisdom.
Okay.
Mindfulness.
IDLM. I'm making an anagram.
I
ID
didn't.
IDILM.
ID IDLIWM.
Okay.
So we can do IDLIM.
Idlum instead of
Idlum.
bedlam. How about that?
Idlum. We
Idlum
can do
instead of
that.
bedlam. We can remember that. But the intention, like each individual thing is amazing. Just intention, focusing on your intention, your mindfulness, your letting go, your discipline and diligence. Like these are tools. And also what's coming to me is to not kind of to step aside. And I know letting go sometimes can mean giving up to some people, but it's not. Letting go, kind of surrendering, is also like don't shame yourself for
Yeah.
about
Respect
anything.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Let go of all of that stuff that makes you feel like you're not worth anything. Why would you want to keep that anyway?
right. But I don't think people know how.
You
I
just
think
let go.
people, huh?
You just let go. And if you don't know how, you get a hold of somebody like us
Right.
and have them help you, have them guide you and support you and to help you find your own way.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I couldn't have done this, gotten this far by myself for sure.
Oh no.
But also knowing that I can do things now, it has empowered me with the right teachers, with the right mentors. It has empowered me to do as much for myself as I can and to show other people to do the same.
And to continue that journey doing more and more and more, freeing yourself from all of I mean, basically our entire lives
Yeah.
were boxed. And now we get to take away those boxes. And each time you take away more boxes and you think, oh, I've done it. Oops, more boxes.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, just wait. There's one more thing behind the curtain. And what happens when you unbox? It becomes a cross. When you unbox.
It can. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or it can just fall flat and open up the view to, oh, there's another box. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Thank you. I wanted to know if you are open for this. A couple weeks ago in a session, I was the client, and Toth came in. or I think you call him Thoth,
Mhm.
right? Okay. What do you know about Thoth?
Thoth came here very specifically at the time that he did to build the pyramids so that we he came in at a time when their civilization was not going to last, but they had so much information that we need today. It's very similar to what happened with the Atlanteans. um, and so he wanted to make sure that we got the Atlanteans left us the crystals. um, Thoth left us the pyramids, and the pyramids are not three in Egypt. The pyramids are all over the earth.
Right.
And a lot of what is about the pyramids is communication, not just one on one or in a society, but throughout the universe. The placement of those pyramids is very specific. If you learn about them, you can see how each of the pyramids all over the earth communicate together and communicate out to the universe, and the multiverse, everything. It's all about communication through and with energy,
Mhm.
and that's everywhere now. And he came here as he was in form, but he was like one of the really big um, leaders.
Yeah.
I can't think of the right term for it now, but he was one of those
He
who,
described himself in the session as what we would call a god. He said, I'm
yes,
not a god, but in your words, that's what I was. And I kept coming back when needed in form. I wasn't born, I just arrived. Does that
yes,
sound right?
absolutely,
Because the session was
absolutely.
wild. It
I'm
was
sure it
wild.
was, and
Yeah.
and he's wild too. But the thing is, he came here in form, and he had human experiences. He had a daughter. Her name is
Yeah.
Sashat,
That's why I
and
wanted
she
to
was
ask you. I'm like, if anyone knows, it's Lay about him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Sashat is her name itself means female scribe,
Yeah.
and she was his daughter. She's responsible for all the writings that are in the pyramids. He built them to be the communication towers and all of that.
Mhm.
And he had all of that know-how. But he needed to have his daughter to write everything that's on there that would explain things that would be necessary for us to have that information at this period in time, so that we could do what we need to, creating a world that serves all the people equally across the board. No, not everybody has a little bit of this, or you have more, or there's separation, and completely beyond separation for everybody.
Beyond separation for everybody. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah,
Explain that
right
more.
now we've got all kinds of separation going on, and the model that I see going forward is, when we're beyond separation,
Mhm.
you have your power. I have my power. Right now, all of the boxes are about us giving away our power, convincing us to give away our power to whatever entity it has. And we give away our power to all, we still do right now. We give away our power to all sorts of beings
Yeah.
or entities, as the case may be,
Mhm.
whatever they happen to be.
Yeah.
But that's not going to be the way it is in the future. You have your power. I have my power. I keep my power. You
Mhm.
keep your power. I understand you have your power, and I don't ask you to give it to me.
Mhm.
And I respect that you have your power.
Mhm.
The same goes the other way. You know that I have my power, and you don't ask me to give it to you, and you respect that I have my power.
Mhm.
We also respect that we are, once again, using the same metaphor, individual strands on the tapestry. We have our uniqueness. each of us.
Yeah.
And we are allowed to be that uniqueness, to express that uniqueness
Yeah.
while still being in the, you have your power, I have my power, and we all have our collective power together,
Right.
which we don't give away to anyone or any entity at all,
And
ever.
knowing that I don't need your energy, I don't need your power.
Yeah,
That's a huge shift just on its own.
yeah,
Not only do I not want you to take mine, I don't need yours.
yeah.
You have it. It's beautiful. I get to sit and talk to you and share our powers, if we're going to use that, share in our energies together, right?
Mhm.
Um, I love it. I love thinking about all of those things. But so when I posted it on YouTube about Thoth coming in, I mean, first of all, I was like, can't say shocked really. But it was interesting. I'm like, okay, I think I have wings on my head. I think I'm a bird. No, I'm not a bird. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Thoth is here. But I'm not gonna like think about it. And then people are like, Thoth, he is bad news. Bad news. And I was like, I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel good, like the angelic or Yeshua presence or overcome with. It just was kind of like in the void of creation. It was that energy. It was stern, but it was just energy, not good, not bad. So I
Which is
don't,
the truth of energy, by the way, and the truth of everything. It's not good or bad, it just is.
at its core, right? Before we put the intentions and stuff on it.
The perceptions, yeah.
Okay. So it really got me thinking a lot about entities, right? Like entities, thought forms, densities, and what we ascribe to it. If you think that Thoth is rotten and demonic, and you're afraid of that, is that what you're going to get back?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you've chosen it. What you damn damns you back.
I feel like I do really feel like that. And I can honor other people's situations where it scared the crap out of them. It was real. And it is real. What we call in is real, right? But what we're calling entities are really thought forms, whether we put them there or we allowed others to put them there. And the thought forms take form.
And what scares us is that we have given away our power and we don't
Yeah.
realize that
Yeah.
we have the power to create. We also have the power to say no. We have decisions and we make choices constantly.
Yeah. So one of my friends, when I was like, oh my God, I brought in Thoth, like I didn't think anything was bad, but should I be afraid? And I text one of my BFFs and she's like, no, you have a choice. You can call in that energy if you want again or not. And I was like, yeah, I have the choice. I should know better. But it was somebody that I so respect, so admire, so love that I really felt like I want to think about this and see it from another point of view in case I'm missing something. And it really
Well,
was so good for me to do that.
let's look at this in a logical sense, if we will, for a moment.
Yes, please.
If Thoth came in here and he had the creative ability and the power and the knowledge to be able to build all of the pyramids for our best good, for our, because we would need this information and we would need this kind of communication at this point in time. Does that sound like someone who's demonic?
I don't, but how do we know? How do we know he built the pyramids? To you, that's truth. You know that,
I do.
right? So you know that. So to you, it's pretty clear. But to somebody else saying, excuse me, nobody knows who built the pyramids, right? Um, I mean, I listened to that session. I'm like, that is not me. I was like interrupting the lady, who's I was
The
just
wisdom
so,
keepers do this too. Yep.
it was so very authoritarian and whatever. So the conclusion for me was, I think he's just like in the in between, no attachment, just energy for creation almost. Um, and in terms of the dark and the light, we are here to make those choices and to experience one or the other. And what if he is setting up this playground, if you will, to give us the choice?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
And
how
there's
I
a
kind of
number of
came.
other masters. Some of them are actually in a form here right now, like Master R, who has been around many, many times in many different incarnations.
Mm,
And he's extremely powerful. And he also is kind of abrupt,
hmm
but he has a very, very powerful message. And he's here and has been here in all of his incarnations to support us in doing what we are doing right now.
mm,
And to me, the idea that that these beings would be demonic, where and if you look at this, let's look at this. Where does that come from? Does that come from these entities, these powers that be, trying to keep us in our boxes?
mm, right.
Which is exactly why Thoth and Master R are here right now,
Mm,
is to help us break down all those boxes so that we can live free. Is that demonic?
mm, yeah. It was wild. Yeah. It was interesting. This all went down yesterday. Not the session, but like I posted it yesterday, the session, and Thoth comes in at the end. And so once, you know,
I'll have to
um,
see this session. Send me the link, please.
yeah, I will. And I would love for you to tell me how accurate it is, because with all of these sessions, I would say they're about 80, 85% like legit and true. The higher self really comes in. We've got a filter a little bit through the, our humanness, but what you know about Toth and what he says, I'd love to hear it.
Moreover, do you think it's not a synchronicity that that happened yesterday and we're talking today?
I was like, oh my God, should I keep this appointment? Should I keep this interview? I really did. I really had to. And somebody would say, well, don't doubt yourself like that. People always have things to say. Don't doubt yourself, whatever. Like, but this is the process. When you and I are talking about, we can teach other people the tools that we literally use. I was using my tools. I wasn't saying, Jodi, why are you doubting yourself? You're a celestial shaman. You're supposed to know what you talk to Jesus all the time. No, what I'm supposed to do is say, here's something that was brought up. It brings something up in me that, oh my God, my friend who I absolutely adore, is saying this to me in a really loving, kind, compassionate, and very protective way. I want to honor that and think about it. So then I felt that fear even more, like, what am I doing? What is this? What is that? Am I going down the wrong way? But in 24 hours, less than 24 hours, I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I feel good. you know?
And that's the two chairs, that's a tool that I use frequently with people when they have to make a choice or they have to process something. There's two chairs. You put in one, all three of them are you. You're the moderator, and there's these two chairs. In one chair, you have what we would call the ego. In the other chair, you have what we would call the inner self. And they have a discussion about this thing, or
Yeah.
they ask questions about it. well, if you do this, you're going to blah 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 blah, and this terrible thing is going to happen. Okay, fine. And then the inner self says, but you could also grow like this and this and this, and you know,
Yeah.
or whatever it happens to be. And
Yeah.
that's a great way of processing or coming to a decision on something that is extremely difficult.
Hmm. And that's almost impossible to do by yourself.
Now, I teach people to do it all the time.
Really?
Hmm.
To be in the three chairs.
Hmm. Well, you're the moderator, and yet parts of you are in the two chairs, and you just see them as being in the two chairs and talking to each other.
That is awesome. Yeah. I love it. So do the wisdom keepers have anything? I mean, the five was plenty, but is there anything else that we need to know about this Lion's Gate, which is tomorrow is the pinnacle on 888? Anything
All
that
they're saying is love yourself. You have enough for today to deal with. Love yourself.
love yourself, love yourself, love yourself, and all the uniqueness that comes with that.
And yourself also as the greater whole of all that is. Love yourself.
Mm. I love that. It's a beautiful energy. So
And I can see the lights going funny behind me. There's
yeah, there
actually
were a
no
couple
lights in
times
here.
I saw them
No
like
lights.
kind of flashing and I was like, oh yeah, or the noises in the background was very, very interesting. So thank you so much for doing this, getting up early so that we could talk at this time. So
Thank you for allowing me at this time.
I appreciate that.